Welcome, everybody, to the Gatekeepers podcast remix, episode 3. I am your co-host, Dan.
And I am your host, Billy.
Yes, indeed. And today we have a couple things we're going to be going over. We're going to be going over the FWA memberships, different styles of wood, ASTM standards for dig and set, and a couple other things like tool talk that we'll finish it off with. First of all, we want to thank our current sponsor of the show, ourselves. So if you do want to help us out in any way possible, we do have a lot of options you can do, most of them being free. Yeah. Like, share, comment, subscribe, whatever, ring the notification bell, all those goodies that everybody talks about. We could beat it into your head so you're blue, but it wouldn't do anything. Just go ahead and
just hit that like button.
Yeah,
just hit that little bell. Hit that little bell. Hit that little like button.
That's it, man.
A share.
All you have to do is go to gatekeeperpodcast.com. And so now let's take it away with how was your week, Billy?
How was your week, Dan?
Whew. Rough.
I think both of our weeks were pretty long.
Very long. Very rough. Eventful, very eventful. We just had quite a lot going on. We have a new contestant to if I owned a flamethrower, I would burn this motherfucker down.
I mean, it happens. It happens.
I mean, some things get a little difficult, and
whenever you build things for long enough, you find something that you very much just don't like.
Especially when you're thinking you're going to be done, and then we get more things added on to the list, which it's good. It's more money, but whew, we're tired.
But yeah, so the fair's over. You guys rocked it out at the fair.
Yep. That was super fun.
So what'd you guys do this weekend, though? I saw you dressed up and went out. What did you do?
I dropped my wife off at work. That was it. Yeah, she as you know, she works at a brewery up here, and they had a little Halloween party. So I dressed her up and went in there, got some discounts on brews if you're wearing a costume. So that was pretty rad. Went as Old McDaniel.
Old McDaniel.
Yeah, some overalls, a straw hat, and nothing else.
I saw in that Snapchat you sent me because I had sent you my costume, and you were like, "Oh, here's Old McDaniel." So I figured you went and did something.
I had a farm.
Now that I know that you that you literally just dressed up to get discounted beer, it makes it all the more better.
It's so much better.
So much better.
My fence fuel, if you will.
So, like, Halloween is going to be tomorrow night, the night that the podcast airs. So, happy Halloween to all that are watching.
We're filming this on Monday, by the way, guys, and releasing it Tuesday. And then we're going to be going live on our next couple episodes coming up soon. Just working out a lot of the kinks, as you all know. And
hey, look, we got lights, camera, action, baby.
Yeah, we got a new lighting. I remembered to bring it from the house, finally. You know,
hey, I mean,
a different camera. Third time's the charm.
Third time's the charm. I mean, I'm telling you. I'm not even worried about it.
It's been rough. And then sooner or later, we're going to have multiple angles from camera. Let's just not overcomplicate it. And as we say, just keep it simple, keep it dumb.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Real quick, I'm going to give a shout out to the swag I am wearing tonight. I am wearing the FWA shirt. And if you're not a member, we will talk about that here shortly.
Indeed. And
Dan,
I would like to,
what you got on tonight?
I would like to shout out Red Cameras. I did get a nice little hoodie from their South Florida rep. Unfortunately, not a camera. They do make some pretty rad cameras, though. I just can't afford one just
Very
yet.
much so.
Yeah. If you guys would like to help support the channel as well, again, as we were saying, gatekeeperpodcast.com, and then if you go to our podcast streaming link from there is an option to subscribe and donate a couple bucks a month if you want, or just like and subscribe and all that jazz.
It's not even that expensive. $3 a month is way less than your Netflix subscription, and I promise you will subscribe and you'll forget about it.
Yeah, and it helps us out. It helps us out build this channel up.
Yeah, no, seriously.
It's very expensive for hosting fees and other things, and it's all coming out of our pocket right now.
Yeah.
So we just want to bring you some cool information.
Funded by the old wallet itself.
Yes, indeed.
So, Dan, what you drinking on tonight?
I got my fence fuel, a little Bahama Mama, the pirate water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And if you guys are interested in a like Gatekeepers Fence Fuel sticker, just reach out on us to any of our socials. We will get you a sticker out in the mail as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I am drinking on the tried and true Yingling.
Yeah. What kind of cup is that?
This is a Coastal County Brewery cup, which is a local brewery in Pensacola. It's actually right down the street from our house. And we went for Oktoberfest.
Okay.
In September, which is always blows my mind why Oktoberfest is in September, but that is neither here nor there. And they were selling the mugs, and you got your first 2 fills for free, and the mugs were only $15. And I was like, well, these
$7.50 for a beer.
These beers are $7.50. I was like,
free
okay,
mug.
Cool. So I'll take the free mug, and this is now my beer mug, even though it looks like a coffee mug. I guess it's a
multi-purpose mug,
German style small beer mug, because that's what they sold it to me as.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess we are going to cut right to it now.
FWA membership. We are both members now.
Are you a member now?
Yeah. I did. I did go ahead and sign up and go through that whole.
I'm super proud of you.
Yes.
So a little side note on the whole FWA membership, and this has to do with a thread that was made by Brian Fredrickson, who is who is the president and the creator of the FWA.
Okay.
And he was talking about certifications and regulations for the fence industry, and if certain fence groups like the FWA, what have you, if they offered them. And like one of my biggest response to that, and I even typed it out, and I said, I'm all for certifications, but are we talking about owner umbrella certifications, or
so as if the owner only has to get it, or all of the employees have to also get
not
it,
just that, but I would like for the installers to have it, and for it to not be tied to that said company.
Yeah.
So instead of like the AFA, and I'm not saying anything bad about the AFA, but in order for any Joe Blow installer to go get some AFA training, they have to have their owner pay for it.
Yeah.
The FWA is free. And I would absolutely love, Brian, if you're watching, if you would, start some sort of certification process for the installers that is affordable.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, like $100 for a test should be pretty standard instead of $1,600, $800. Like with the AFA.
Yeah, because not everybody.
And if you're not
right off the
an
rip.
owner, you're not going to want to go do that.
No.
So I mean, at the end of the day, I would love for these certifications to be made readily available to the installers at a want to be certified basis.
Yeah.
Like, for all means, if they want to be certified in vinyl fence, they sign up for the training day, they go take the test, they take off work, obviously, or I mean, I would hope that the owner would love the fact that they're actually paying for their own
proactive about
training,
becoming better.
And and they come back certified, and they keep that certification.
Yeah, and that would stay with them, not with the company that they work for. God forbid if that company goes under, they leave that company for any given reason, or if they just so happen to move. Like, for example, I recently moved up to this area. I mean, it's been over a year. I say recently, but when I moved up to this location up here, well, no matter who I was working with back home, well, not back home, but because this is my home now, but regardless, but back in Tampa, whoever I was working with down there, I wouldn't stay with the same company, but I had moved for personal reasons, family and things like that. If something like that were to ever come up, you would still transfer those certifications, and they're not linked to one business or another. It's linked to a personal entity.
Absolutely, and that would be like signing like an NDA, like, you know, like if I pay for this, you're not allowed to go work for another fence company for such period of time after you quit, and that's not what I'm for. Like 100%, because we've hired and fired, and some of these people that have been let go, I absolutely love them as people.
Yeah. No, agree. Agree. I love
you know,
everybody that I've worked with.
Never want to take away someone's livelihood by signing like an NDA saying, "Hey, I paid for your training course one time. Now you can never use this certification ever again." Like, nah,
dog.
Nah,
that ain't it.
No. But so I do want to talk about some of the benefits that the FWA offers.
Go ahead and do tell.
They offer health insurance, which is freaking phenomenal. I don't myself have it because I dropped the ball and we got busy and I just never got around to signing up.
Well, that's coming up soon.
No, it's already passed.
Oh, for the next year?
No, for this year. Like
the
open enrollment.
2024 is almost here.
Well, yeah, but the open enrollment is normally once a year.
Yeah.
And then the open enrollment just happened and it closed, I think, like September-ish. So, but I did go on and look at prices and they were great.
Yeah.
Great healthcare options.
Which is definitely awesome.
Absolutely.
Like we're outside, you know, in Florida, we're in the heat. Some other places in the cold. Some other places rain, shine. It doesn't matter. You're out there on the front line.
Yeah.
Doing your thing.
I mean, you can if your company doesn't offer health insurance, you can just get your FWA membership and it's free right now. It's still free.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's why I set it up because you know it's free and there's a lot of benefits with it.
You get
you get discounts at places.
You get a 20%. I think either 20 or 15% discount at Boot Barn.
Rad.
So I mean,
we're all wearing boots. Hopefully,
we all wear boots. Hopefully, I mean, I know there's a couple guys out there, and we all get shit about it for living in Florida because VV calls them tropical boys because they out there and they sandals and they flip flops.
Oh no
offense, but you know,
that's
not us. That's not us. I don't wear flip flops. I wear boots. So like you get discounts at Boot Barn. You can get discounts at Lowe's.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have any other affiliates actually signed right now yet, but I know those two for sure. Then of course they offer health insurance.
Yeah.
And overall, like it's just
and there's a lot of resources with them.
There's a lot of resources. They got all sorts of gate designs online and everything that you could really think of whenever it comes to chain link and like aluminum gates and everything like that online. So highly recommend an FWA membership, and especially right now since it's still free. Shout out to Brian Fredrickson for starting the FWA and putting on the largest Finch show in the world last year, which I was unable to attend because it was my wife's birthday.
Do it at a different day, Brian.
Yeah, well, it's in like September next year, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
Now, if somebody did want to sign up for the FWA membership, where would they go?
I believe they go to FWA.com.
Just Google search FWA.
Yeah, because I did it through a QR code.
I did mine, I think, through the QR code on your card.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty easy. It
took me about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It did.
30
Fill out
seconds.
your information.
I got my card in the mail. I got a couple cool stickers. I put one on the back of my hard hat.
Yeah, which is right up there.
Which is right there.
Yeah. Well, that's the...
Dan also made me a really cool Gentry Farmhouse logo on the front of it this past week.
Also, if you guys are working out there, these are the best hard hats I've ever seen. You picked yours up off of Amazon?
I got that one on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes. And so
yeah, it's a hard hat. It has a sun.
It's got a sun visor.
Yeah. Pops down with portable sunglasses, which is great if you like myself and do wear regular glasses. And also if you wear regular glasses and not contacts, definitely highly suggest getting some safety glasses, rated glasses, because you don't have to switch between them or put safety glasses on top. These have little cup shields that go around them. Super convenient.
Yeah.
Especially while I'm out there like welding and doing metal work where tons of stuff's flying everywhere and it gets a little violent sometimes.
Yeah, it does. You were out there grinding a gate the other day, and I was trying to walk in the warehouse, and I was like, oh, God, I have to look the other way while I'm walking right now.
Yeah. Sparks flying everywhere and whatnot.
Flying everywhere.
But yeah, those have earmuffs for your ears, eye shield for the eyes, and
I love
for the
them.
sun.
And I'm
it's
gonna give
adjustable
y'all a $40 savings too, because that was $80 on Amazon.
And you just ordered a second one.
I just ordered a second one on Temu for $42.99.
Yeah.
Same brand,
same exact everything. Except for you got it in lime green, right?
Lime green this time. Lime
highlighter
green.
Yeah.
So that's actually that should be here like tomorrow, I think.
Rad.
But I got it on sale for $42.99. I was just scrolling through Temu. It was my first time on Temu. I was like, let me see what this like hype is all about. So
yeah, they got some
scrolling through
everything.
And like sure enough, I saw forestry chainsaw helmet with earmuffs. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And I clicked on it, and it was $42.99, and I was like, buy.
Go ahead and send it.
Yep, send it over.
Put it in the mail.
So we are going to get to our next topic, and that's going to be styles of wood fence, because we're going to go over a wood guide today, and we're going to go over it as if we were digging and setting, not as if.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the driven system, the no dig, no mess. And it's not the podcast is not necessarily only what we do right now, because we've gone over a lot of stuff of what we are doing right now. We haven't always done this.
No.
So we've made a couple hundred fences or so. It's been quite a bit.
Maybe like 5 or 10. You know,
yeah.
5 or 10.
Yeah.
5 or 10 years.
5 or 10 years. 5 or 10 fences. I think I put together 5 fences. I think I could talk about it enough. No, jokes aside, before the whole driven system, we did do dig and set.
Yeah.
And we're not going to necessarily get into the concrete methods, because that'll spark up a little bit of a debate.
Oh, no, we're going to get into the way I did it.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
I'm saying
I'm not talking
over which one is better.
I'm not
and
talking
yada,
about
yada,
which one is better, because that's just beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah.
So, first we're going to just start off with your styles of wood fence.
Mm-hmm.
First, we have your standard stockade dog ear privacy. We got shadow box.
Mm-hmm.
We got board on board, which is a true privacy fence.
And Charleston
style. I love those. Very labor intensive. Very, very trim carpentry minded versus just
very, very detailed.
Very, very detailed. And then we have your space 4-foot picket, either French Gothic style, or you can do scalloped or sunrise.
Mm-hmm. And you actually have one of those around your front yard.
I do.
Yeah.
You want to know how I got that?
How so?
Back in the day, whenever I was still on my own, with Gulf Coast Fence Solutions, I had my wife
Ruh-roh.
running quotes for me, right? Because I was out there installing Monday through Friday.
Yeah, so you're not able to answer phones, and
I was answering phones out there on the fence line, and I was still answering phones. But
it's just not productive.
No.
Yeah.
So I ran all of my quotes on Sundays, and the overflow of people who could not have quotes on Sundays, my wife ran.
Yeah.
During the week. So she comes home, and she was pretty well versed in the fence game at this point. She knew what different styles were, and
all different things. Yeah.
All different things.
Yeah.
And so she comes home, and I get home later on. She's like, babe, I went and ran this quote today, but like, I don't exactly know what they're talking about. So we're going over the quotes, and she's like, yeah, so they want a 4-foot spaced picket fence, which I get, but like, she said that she wants it scalloped, and I was like,
so you want seafood?
Okay. All right. I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I've never done it at this point.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I was in the process of building
went ahead and made it for your own self fence. As a test.
I went ahead and built it in my front yard and learned how to do it on my own front yard fence. And I was like, oh man, this is pretty damn easy.
Huh. And it's still.
So after I figured it out.
Pretty damn good. How long have you had that?
That one is
4 years or something like that, right?
That one's 4 years old. And I stained it like 5 times. I was so anal with it, and I stained it at like every different point. Like, had the post set, stain the post. Put the rails up, stain the rails. Put the pickets up, stain the pickets.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, restain the whole fence.
Seems like a little wasteful. You also had
it was my own fence, and I had a whole lot of light honey available until my son spilled an entire 5-gallon bucket of it in my front yard.
Up, and you still have a little patch with no grass.
There is a giant patch of no grass of that.
An entire 5-gallon bucket.
I mean, that's what happens when you spill 5 gallons of stain on the
oil based. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
no.
So
with BP.
I mean, I'm sure they're still paying it out for down here, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that's how I learned how to do scalloped and sunrise cuts. Is I just played around on my own fence.
Yeah.
I did 2 sections of sunrise and 2 sections of scalloped, and I ripped down the sunrise after I figured out how to do it, because I knew my wife wanted the scalloped after I explained to her what it was.
You see both of them, pick which one you want.
Yeah. So, well, no, she didn't actually see them installed in our front yard. I was just playing with it.
Oh, okay.
I was showing her pictures online because I knew what it was. I had just never done it.
Yeah.
Like at that point. Our yard got the scalloped 4-foot spaced, and we love it, except for our gates are failing. But that's what happens when you use wood gates, and we'll get to that later. But so I've pretty much gone over every style of wood fences. Now we're going to get into installation methods for dig and set with concrete for wood fences.
And there is a standard for that.
There is a standard for that.
The ASTM standard.
Absolutely. And it's really not that hard to follow. It's actually really pretty easy once you get used to it.
Do it right the first time. You don't have to do it a second time.
Yeah, no. Not at all.
Yeah.
So we're going to start out, from the point of pulling up to a customer's house to...
Second you hop out of the truck to the second the last toolbox closes and you're on your way out.
Start to finish.
Yep.
Start to finish. So as an installer, you get there, and foreman, installer, I'm going to just kind of like group you guys all on the same.
Everybody in the truck.
Yeah. So
or car,
we have
or vehicle you
one. We have one dedicated point of contact with the client, and that's who I want all the information to funnel through. I don't want Bill or Poppy or whatever. Poppy, I don't even know where I came up. Karen. Or Keith.
You want one person being the only person.
One person. That way, nothing
customer
gets construed, and they're not playing telephone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you show up, that one person will knock on the door.
Yeah.
Hello, Mrs. or Mr. Customer, whoever answers. We are Joe Schmo's Fence, whatever your company may be, and we're here to, we're here. Today's the day. Congratulations.
Today is the day.
We get started on your new fence.
But
if you need anything, contact me. If you can't find me, just ask somebody else to help find me.
And
simple as that.
Just depending on the size of your company and the processes and procedures of your company.
Yeah.
I know we here we like to use flags for start, stop points, gates, etc., etc.
Yeah.
That way, most of the guesswork is done whenever.
See if I had any in the office, but I don't think I have them.
Actually,
I think they're all in the truck.
I think they're all in the trucks.
Yeah.
So most of the guesswork is done. Excuse me. The gates are kind of a reference point. It doesn't have to be set in stone where the gate's going to go, but so
unless there are certain situations where it's like I want it.
Yeah.
Here or there, whatever it may be.
So while your point of contact is with your client, you're going to walk around and make sure that, hey, this is probably going to be the third or fourth time that we've talked about this, but, the flag is here and you're still good with that, right?
Yeah. When we did our estimate, these are the flags that we put down.
Yeah.
They're still here. We generally, when we do our estimates, the other thing is we always like to let the homeowner know, like, hey, if you can leave these flags here, that would be greatly appreciated. So when we come back for the install, it's a little bit easier to figure out our bearings. And if you have a lawn care company or anybody that does mowing or whatever else it may be, or if you mow your own lawn, just try to put them back after you mow that one spot.
I mean, for the most part, 90% of the time we show up, even in the times whenever we've been just balls to the wall, slam busy, 8 weeks out, we'll show up and there's still flags there 90% of the time.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
I think I've only seen it moved once in the last year or so.
There has been, in the last 2 months, there has been probably 5 or 6, and it's the most since we started using the flags, just in the last 2 months. But that's because we were so busy 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
Whenever we first did those quotes, that I was just backlogged.
Yeah. And there was a lot of them that was, well, let me get some other quotes. And we
also had to recall 811 on a couple of them because all of the markings and those flags were gone. And even though we had the tickets, there was nothing
I think that
to look
one
at.
was their lawn care company that had moved all of that.
I mean, it is what it is, you know. I mean, because people have to have their grass cut, especially if you live in an HOA. We're not trying to have people fined because we can't get to their grass and like, oh no, you can't cut your grass, all right?
Never do that.
And we're not paying your fine, by the way.
We should have a forest in the backyard when we come to set up, and then can cut it all down.
So you establish like where the fence is gonna go, like
walk
with the flags.
Walk the perimeters of where we
and then for me, I'm going to go ahead and set up my equalizer. Okay. If you want to go ahead and set up your string line, if you don't believe in the Mr. Fence tools and you want to set up your string line, then that's what your process is.
Yeah, whatever it is that your process is, you start that process of laying out your lines.
Go ahead and do it.
Of whatever your line tool of choice is.
So after we get all of that done and we figure out where our holes need to be drilled, I'm gonna have the guys take a paint can and tip it completely upside down, touching the string with a very small dot, and then a big circle right around that dot. And that's so
the dot is so we know where it needs to go.
That's exactly where
so we can find the dot easier.
So that's exactly where the point of the auger bit needs to go. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and mark out the entire backyard. And then we'll drop all the string lines. We'll get the bobcat hooked up, like with the auger head. I'll go ahead and I'll start like digging out holes,
or if not, regardless of whatever you have to.
Little beaver, auger.
If you want to go out there with some post hole diggers, by all means.
I mean, I've been there, done that.
Everybody's got to start somewhere.
I have set 100 fences with more than 100 fences with just post hole diggers.
Yeah, you just got to start somewhere.
I'm just saying the way that I would do it. So I would drop all the string lines, and then I work from right to left always. It is always a right to left circle around the house. Every single time I get to that end point, I go right back to where I started from, and I make that circle all the way again.
Yep.
So once I get
digging, you lay out the lines, mark the yard, and as you circle back around, then it's time for digging.
So once I start digging, once I get the first line dug, and I'm past the first 2 or 3 holes in the next line, I'll have the guys reset back up the string line at this point.
Yeah.
And they're going to set posts behind me. And then by the time they're done setting the like posts on the original line, I'm already done digging that like second line. So on, so forth.
Yeah.
And the
so as you finish up one thing and you're on to the next, they're starting the one that you just finished.
Absolutely.
Until it kind of circles back to the front of the house.
By the time I'm done like digging all the holes, I'll start passing out 2x4s.
Yeah.
All right. And it's 3 per section, 3 per section, and then by the time I'm pretty much done passing out 2x4s, they are starting rails.
Yeah. We're speaking generally in terms of 6-foot fences.
6-foot high fences, and we're talking about 3-man crews.
Yeah.
Okay. So
so obviously if you're doing something like an 8-foot, you're going to have 4 rails, not 3.
4 rails, not 3, and it's all going to be different. And so forth.
Yeah, there's going to be different things for whatever. We're just saying general terms as 6-foot, just to clarify.
So as far as post depth, hole width, We used a 10-inch auger bit on the Bobcat, and we also wallered that hole out as it was going down. It didn't just go straight down and come just straight back out. So it just got wallered out. They go about 30 inches deep, 31 sometimes, 28 sometimes. You got to kind of clean it out. Here in Florida, in like Northwest Florida specifically, we have no frost line that we have to deal with. But I mean,
it's a little different here than
by all means. If you have a frost line, what you're gonna do is dig 30 inches below your frost line.
Yeah.
Okay. So if your frost line is a foot deep, we're gonna be digging
30 inches deep,
42 inches deep. Okay. Also, if you're in a frost line situation, what you're gonna want to do is bell out the bottom of your holes. So when you're done with the auger, like your hole's gonna be like this. But you're going to want to take your clamshells, your post hole diggers, and you're going to want to dig at the side at the very bottom so that way the concrete can go up under it.
So it's kind of like a rivet when you pull a rivet. It
absolutely
flares out at the end.
Absolutely.
So that way when if it does have the yard freeze over or whatever else it may be.
It doesn't push out like a popsicle.
Yep. Doesn't just go poop.
So
I haven't spent time in the snow. Haven't ever lived anywhere where it snows.
No, it's not.
But
fun.
Yeah, I don't want to shovel snow. It's a little.
So I lived in DC
crazy.
for a couple of years, and the first couple months after I got there like September, and I was like really excited. I was like, oh man, like it's gonna snow. It was pretty for about 2 days, and then it just turned into a black mess.
Yeah, but the fence post will literally just.
Oh yeah, that'll be like
if it's not properly done, it just shoves it right out.
Everything compacts and the ground pushes against it and just boom.
Yep. Because when things freeze, they expand.
Yeah. But
so we've dug the hole. We've laid out all the wood.
We have put the post in it. Now we're going to plumb the post to the string. Dump concrete in there, dry concrete, because this is what I do.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my method for setting fence posts. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, the best, the worst. This is my method.
To each their own.
And then if I'm working solo, I'm going to dry pack as I go. If I'm working as a 3-man team, what I tell them to do is I tell them to blast through the posts, and then I'll come back behind them with the like pencil vibrator and a tamping bar, and I'll pack them. Yeah. So the pencil vibrator is going to take all of the air pockets out of the concrete for you and compact it tight around that square wood post. All right. And I'm telling you what, I've seen big old dudes try to pull out a dry packed post and they just fail.
Yeah, if it's properly.
If it's properly dry packed, you are not pulling it out of the hole. Not unless you shake it. Like if you don't shake it,
you got to shake it to move everything else around it to get a little bit of air.
So,
but if it's set in, right, properly, tamped, vibrated, all of that, it's staying in there.
It's not going nowhere. So, once you get your post packed, your dirt work done, you're going to attach your rails. And just depending on what your reveal system is going to be for your rail spacing. Here we use a 7-inch reveal, or we used a 7-inch reveal on all of our dig and set
when
fences.
we were doing dig and set.
So we would mark, and it's like top down construction. So like we would mark the post 0, which is no mark, 27, 54, 66, which is your ground level.
Yeah.
Okay. So your rails would go at 0, 27, and 54. That sets you up for a 7-inch reveal, leaving an inch off of the ground, give or take, just depending on your roll. Okay, so once you got all of your rails attached, and if you're running rails for me, it should be a one-man job. There should be no reason that I have 2 people running rails unless it's an 8-foot fence and you just absolutely can't do it by yourself. But it's a one-man job.
Rails are pretty self-explanatory.
with the X-Man, without the X-Man. We have our own homemade X-Man.
Yeah, you just take a 2x4
you just take a 2x4.
Couple offcuts of 2x4s and nail them into that first the longer 2x4.
Yeah.
And
you just set it up on the back of the post, and it just holds them like an inch below where they go. And when you're ready to nail, you just pick it up, shoot it,
line it up to the line that you've marked on the board.
Yeah.
Or on the post, I should say.
Yeah. And once all that is done, we're not worried about heights at the moment. All right.
Yeah. No, this is just.
We're gonna shoot for the 66 ground level.
Yeah.
But if it's a little high or if it's a little low, I'm not too worried about it. If it's like a half inch high or 3/4 of an inch low, that can be fixed easily.
That's the next step.
Mm-hmm. So after that, what we would do is we would do sighting the line. So we're going to do our heights first, our balancing, whatever you want to call it, heights balancing. And it's a lot easier with 3 people.
Yeah,
because
you have one person that can always spot from a distance to see where that grade change is going, see where the line is going, and make sure the line's straight. And then the other 2 people
are either going to be
like
picking it up, or they're going to be tapping it down.
Yep, and tamping it as you go.
Yeah. And like once you get that solid roll, everything's tamped back into spot, and you do your ins and outs, and you tip the tops, and you get everything as straight as you can possibly get it. Everything is retamped, and then you're going to be running your pickets after that.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't hit on is going to be gate posts. I see a lot of guys using 4x6s, and I don't know how people get away with that. Like in our area in like Northwest Florida, 4x6s warp worse than 4x4s.
Yeah.
Even with the 6x6s, like lately, they've been warping like crazy.
Yeah, it's because.
But we're not going to get into that. So for your gate posts, they are going to be 6x6s.
Yep.
You can set them at the same depth, 30 inches. You're obviously going to want a 12, 14-inch hole. You're going to want to use a lot of concrete.
A lot of concrete's got to hold the weight of the gate.
And, you're just going to use that as a hinge post.
Yeah.
You're going to use a regular 4x4 as your catch post as always.
Or if it's double gate, you'll have 2 6x6s.
Two 6x6s.
Yeah.
But there's no point in trying to save a couple dollars for a callback, because a 4x4 as a hinge post is going to pull over in a matter of time, and it's not going to be long.
It's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
At some point or another.
And that,
because when you have the weight of a gate leaning on that at all times.
Oh, man, that's just straight pulling it over.
Yeah. Yeah. Wood bows and sways and moves, and, it's a natural thing.
So that leads us into wood gates.
And my specialty.
And metal gates.
Metal gates.
For your wood gates, whatever your preference is. If you are one of them guys that likes to build your wood gates on the ground or in the shop and then hang them afterwards, and by all means, go ahead. I am not one of those guys. I like to frame it in like normal and then cut it loose.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. So you're going to be doing your same rail spacing as always. And then once you have your rails up, you set your backer boards. For your hinges, I like to leave 5/8 an inch gap, 1/2 an inch gap for the hinges, give or take. And you just put backer boards up. I do like to.
It's not too big of an opening there, but enough to where it can still move.
You can get away with 3/8 of an inch, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I do like to use screws for those. Whenever I am installing a wood gate, I do like to use screws for the upright backer boards on the gate side. You're going to put backer boards in between your rails on your 6x6. So that way you have something to like screw into. Oops, excuse me. automatically, and it's not just hitting the picket and then got a 1.5 inch space in between.
Yeah.
So, like, once you do that, you're going to also put your backer board on your catch post and on the swing side of the gate. Okay. And then once you do that, you are going to add your bracing. And for wood gates, it is compression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is not tension.
Wood should be under compression.
Wood should be under compression all the time. And that is
coming from your bottom of it.
Bottom hinge side to your top latch side.
Out towards.
And it should not exceed 45 degrees.
Nope.
And I see a lot of people running a mid rail full and cutting the actual compression brace.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish people would just run the full compression brace and then cut the mid rail.
It doesn't quite do the same when you cut it in half.
No.
Yeah. It should be running corner to corner all the way through.
Corner to corner all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But after you do that, and
then the other two are the mid brace is going to be more to keep it from bowing.
At that point, it's to keep it from bowing and for aesthetics, just to keep it looking good, matching.
And
the rest
because
of
you've
the
got
fence.
3 rails across the whole rest of the fence, throw a third rail in the gate too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So after you've done all that, and you've already pre-marked where your hinges are going to be drilled in at, I would always take a burner lag, so I would call it, and I would go ahead and sink those lags in like 1/2 inch. That way, whenever I'm like making my cut and I'm like trying to get them all up like real quick, it's super fast starts.
Yeah. Everything's kind of in there.
So I would
finish it off.
Mark my top hinge, cut it up like with a my skill saw, cut just like straight up and then I would attach my top hinges. I'll do the same thing for the bottom, and then I'd come back and I'd cut the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Then after you go to the latch side, and you do the same thing. You just cut, and you're done with that, and you install your latch, and like hopefully, like if you brace it right, you have no sag.
Yeah.
We're gonna go on to now my favorite now, which I used to hate them. Is
the metal gates?
Oh man, I love the metal gate frames.
Those are my pride and joy. That's what I actually started with you guys.
Those things are badass.
Yeah, thank you. Metal gates. That's kind of what I do on a daily basis.
Yeah, so
make a couple of them a week, to say the least.
Give us a rundown on the construction of your 4-foot metal gate frames with the tabs.
So if we're going with a 4-foot,
you don't have to give any trade secrets or anything like that. Just give them a base, measurements.
So generally, the way that I make my gate frames, generally you'll have 2 vertical posts on either side, and I go with those right about, I think it's 54, 56 and a half, something like that. Right around the 55-inch range. I have it marked in the shop, and we've been talking way too much for me to remember exact numbers. But I have mine marked to where you have a top, bottom, and middle rail that would be made of wood, which we'll get into that in a second. But those rails will all still line up with the actual fence itself. So when you hang that gate, it seamlessly goes across with your top, middle, and bottom rail in the gate and in the fence. Now with these gates, you'll have your 2 vertical posts, and chop those with the metal chop saw. Then you cut your 2 horizontal braces. So with a 4-foot gate, I'm using 1.5 inch galvanized steel tubing, square tubing. And those would be cut to 45 inches wide for a 4-foot. It's 3 inches shy of 4 feet because you have your 2 side rail, like your 2 vertical ones on the side, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. That's 3 inches total, so 3 inches less than 4 feet is obviously 45 inches.
Right.
Now, as far as where those are welded up is about 3.5 inches up from the bottom and down from the top, so the size of a 2x4. And then once those are welded on, weld on the tabs, which we CNC plasma cut out of a giant sheet of sheet steel, also 16 gauge, just like the 1.5-inch square tubing.
And these tabs are basically going to mimic the Postmaster Plus gate frames. If anybody has seen them and worked with them, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I designed the tabs to be 3.5 inches, stick out about 2 inches out, with 2 little pinholes in them that are, just enough for a wood screw to go through it without going all the way through to where the head of it gets pulled through. So you can just tighten it down.
It's amazing.
Super easy, super quick. You'll cut 3 rails at 45 inches each for the wood and throw in 4 screws on each one of those on the left and the right. We do pre-drill all of our gate frames on one side to accommodate for the hinges that we do use. So
and that is a godsend.
Yeah. Super big time saver, doing everything in preparation. Prepare for everything, and then you're good. But do the pre-drilling for 3 holes at the top, 3 holes at the bottom. Then we have a little jig to mark where we need them that is made from one of our extra latches that we had. That thing is
old.
It's
thing is like
beat
rusty
to hell.
Rusty as hell. Like
yeah,
I saw it the other
welded
day in your kit, and I was like, God.
Yeah,
I took a new butterfly hinge.
Yeah, I took a butterfly hinge and kind of cut off half of the butterfly hinge and welded up a tab on the back side of it. So that way I can just slam it up against it, mark it out, and it's good to go every time.
Yeah, man, and you do a great job on it.
And then just throw it in the drill press. Yeah. And I pre-drill the vertical post for the hinge side before I weld anything on. We do all of ours that I make. I do just, standard old MIG welding, gas shielded. It really is up to you and your preference. I'm not trying to spend my whole day on something that I can make perfectly strong with MIG welding to do either TIG or anything else, and I can
rack the shit out of them without breaking the welds.
Yeah,
so
they are a lot stronger than the actual. The weld is probably the strongest part of the entire gate frame. Your weakest part is the actual
2x4s.
Yeah, well, no, what I'm saying of the metal part. The weakest part is just the 1.5-inch square tubing, the 16 gauge, which is it's strong as hell.
It's standard.
I weigh 200 pounds. I can put it up on a hinge and I can stand on it, and it doesn't scoot.
No, it's not.
Nothing happens.
Anywhere.
It's not going to bow. It's not going to sag or anything like that over time. But it works. It works great. And as you said, by leaving the vertical posts open, square tubing, you can hook a ratchet strap from one corner to the other, either the left or the right, whichever way. And if you need a racket, you can, if your welds are done properly, you can rack the hell out of them. And we're talking the steel gate frames, and we can make aluminum. They're really light. That's a good thing.
I'm not a fan of the aluminum gate frames.
Aluminum, it's a soft metal. It doesn't really rack as well as steel does. And you can beat the crap out of the steel ones, and you're good. When you throw some self-tap, like wood to metal self-tappers in there, they lock in. They don't strip out, aluminum being as soft as it is. If you over-tighten it too much, that screw threading is going to just rip out.
Yeah.
And now you have an open hole that you can't use again. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a breakdown on those. And as you were saying, with the bracing post for wood is going to be under compression, but metal tubing is going to be under tension. Metal doesn't like to be compressed. What happens is the metal definitely will bow and bend where you do compress it. So tension is where you're going to want to have it with metal gate frames if you are making anything big enough that requires that. With a standard 4-foot, 5-foot, or 6-foot, you generally don't need it.
Any bracing.
We can push the hell out of those with weight, and they don't move if they're done right.
If I can rack them 3.5 inches and they don't move after I've put a whole thing of pickets on them, it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere long term. But when it does come down to it, if you do have a larger gate, for example, cantilever gates or anything like that that we've made before, which what I'm making right now for our shop, the 20-foot opening, making some cantilever gates for a 20-foot opening.
I'll be excited whenever those get up and we can stop using the orange Tim fence, because I just want to be able to like slide the gate.
Oh, in case you guys didn't know, we did more recently move to a new shop, new warehouse, new office. That's where we're at right now. Yeah. I haven't even had a chance to finish anything of the office. It's fun. I like it. It's colorful, but for you at home, this is actually my office where I work in normally, and the back half of my office is set up with our podcasting studio.
Yeah.
And normally during the day, I'm sitting here on my laptop doing work and a bunch of other stuff. But
recently you've been with me though.
Yeah. More recently, I've been strictly on installs. It's been strictly on installs or at the fair. The fair's been really fun. Yeah, that's been a blast. It's just cool getting out and seeing people. And we got free passes to the fair, which was cool. And anyone who's in your car goes with you.
I mean, I figured that out really quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't take advantage of it, obviously, because my family was like, no, it's Wednesday and Thursday. We are not going to the fair.
Yeah, no, if my wife didn't work the next day, she went over there and took my son while I'm working at the fair.
Nice.
She'd go walk around, go get a little funnel cake or something. My son loves looking at all the lights and sounds and everything else. He's about to be 1.
He's great.
So he's cool. He's chilling. He loved it up there.
Hell yeah, he did, man. Like you guys brought him, Thursday night? Whenever we were up there, me and Danny?
Yeah, that was Thursday. Yeah, I've brought him there like 4 or 5 times, which was pretty cool.
He had just woke up, and I was like, bro, give me a high five, because I know you know how to do it.
Yeah, he's getting there.
He just
not when he just wakes up.
He did not want to give me a high five.
No, he's just waking up, and there's a whole bunch of lights and sounds. He has no idea where he is.
Oh, my God, I know, right? You were like taking him out of a quiet car and putting him in the middle of a fair.
Yeah. There's a lot of lights here.
Oh, man.
But next thing up, our Tool Talk.
Tool Talk is going to be the Mr. Finch straightaway today. Seems kind of fitting since we're talking about wood fence. So basically, it is a piece of, from what I understand, hardened steel, cold-rolled steel. And it kind of looks like a J, but upside down. All right.
It's like straight, and it's kind of almost got like a hook over it.
Yeah.
But it's
so it holds the pickets on.
Yeah.
But it's got some weight to it, and it's got some weight to it so that way you can slam the pickets up there and it won't move.
It won't budge, yeah.
So I've installed both ways. I've installed pickets with a string line, and I've installed my pickets with the straightaway. And after the first time I ever installed pickets with the straightaway, I absolutely refused to use my string line.
Yeah, and so the biggest difference with it is you're not sitting there kind of gently making sure that you're up against the string line.
Yep.
You're able to just grab the picket, slam it up into the straightaway, and the straightaway is not moving. So it's basically pushing the picket up against a solid, immovable object. Obviously, it's movable, but for all intents and purposes, you're not going to be putting that much force on it. And then you just nail it.
Yeah.
You nail your go across the whole thing, laying up all the pickets, and nailing just the top rail.
I see a lot of guys nailing the middle rail first.
Okay. I guess it's preference at that point.
Just depending on preference at that point.
But you're more or less just nailing one rail only.
Rail at a time.
Yeah.
You're just getting them set to
the right height, and then
once you get to the post.
Yeah, once you get to the post for that one panel, you can adjust it to get it even
with the post.
With the post, yeah.
And then after you got it even with the post, you back nail it. It is, and you use a cheater picket. Okay, so we didn't explain that.
Yeah. So one the first picket of the line
you're gonna measure
is already in there. It's measured. When you first start it, you measure it, mark it, line it up to the rail.
Yep.
That one gets nailed in.
And
that is where the straightaway will hang on the backside as you're moving forward.
And then now, like, we're always working right to left if you're right-handed. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're right-handed, we're working right to left. All right. But if you're left-handed, you're working left to right.
Yeah.
All right. So we
Shout
here
out to
we
all the
are
lefties
all
out there.
we are all. Wait, no.
No, I'm not left-handed.
Okay, I was
I'm
about
just
to
saying,
say,
shout
I
out to
didn't
all
think you
them.
were a lefty. I've seen you shoot pickets. You're a righty.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely right-handed. My left-handed does not work.
Okay.
Like,
no. Mine doesn't either like that.
It could just like hold things.
I mean, yeah.
Like I can't. I have no
holds things.
dexterity control on my left hand. I'm the furthest thing from ambidextrous there ever was.
Oh man.
But just a shout out if you are left-handed in the defense game.
Absolutely. I mean,
comment down below if you are left-handed.
Bro, I can go out on a job site, and if you're shooting with the Mr. Fence, like straight away, I can actually tell if you're right-handed or left-handed.
That'd be really awkward going from there.
Well, that's just because I can see their high-low nail pattern.
Yeah.
So if it's right hand high, left side low, they are right-handed.
Yeah, you're right-handed because you're going.
But if it's the other way around, if it's left side high, right side low, then they're left-handed. And you can
never
actually
thought that much
tell.
into it. Yeah. Because I always you go with gravity after it bounces back for the second hit.
First one on the right side, you go high, and then like gravity will bounce you down, and you go low.
Put it back in, yep.
But that also increases the like nail shear rating, and it gives you the ability to push them back and forth, like to get them plumb. But they also have the new ones have gate spacers on them for vinyl, for wood. They have all of your post markings on there, even down to sunrise, scallop cuts, the wave cuts, finale cuts.
Yeah, there's a whole. It's basically
there's
like
literally
a meter stick.
A
that's
list
marked,
of
with
instructions.
A whole bunch of markings. Yeah.
Like all the new guys, if they have a question,
just look up.
Just look up. Look up. It is all right there for you.
Color coded.
It's all color coded, like it's all right there for you, and it's done.
Yeah.
I love the things. We have 3. My favorite is the OG silver one. It is mine.
I do like it. The other one, the blue one, is nice.
Which blue one? Which blue one?
The newest one.
I'm not.
It's nice because it accommodates
board on board. But if you're not using it for board on board, like it's a pain in the ass.
I'm just saying it's nice.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like it just falls off the back of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the other blue one. Yeah. So we have the 1.0, the 2.0, and the 3.0 straightaways.
Yeah.
My personal favorite is the 1.0. It is my
OG.
tried and true, the OG silver.
See, I've gotten more experience with the 3.0 than any of them because I started when you basically had already had that. I started using it with that, and I've really only used the other ones very minutely. So for me, it's like, well, this is just what I know.
I got you.
So it's no difference for me, but I'm also not like crazy.
Maybe I'm just heavy-handed though.
You're also like Wild Wild West.
Maybe I'm just heavy-handed because
like Billy the Kid over here.
I'd be like, and it just falls off the back, and I'm like, there's even a magnet.
I'm gonna start calling you Billy the Kid. Just Wild Wild West, like quickest hands in the West, man. This guy will put like 700 nails in a matter of 30 seconds.
I mean,
TikTok hates you.
TikTok does hate me. But,
that's all right. You weren't even trying to work fast on that one.
It is what it is. But
I think we need to make a shirt. TikTok hates Billy.
TikTok hates Billy. We also need to make a shirt that says, "If I had a torch big enough, I'd burn this motherfucker down."
Yeah.
That last one is gonna be what?
It's gonna be a long term thing.
Pissed off Billy says whenever he's not happy out in the job field.
Yeah. A new candidate for if I had a torch, I'd burn this motherfucker down.
But, you know, it is what it is. I love the straightaway.
It's great. It's convenient.
I feel like if you don't have one and you look down on them for not using a string line or the price of it, I feel like, you know what? Maybe you should just try it once.
Find a local if you don't have one, get friends with your local installers. Get friends with your local fence companies.
Ask to use it.
I mean, we're friends with damn near almost everybody in the area, at least everybody I know of.
Just about.
Yeah. I knew the bigger players, but we're cool with all of them. If one of them did want to come by one day when we're doing something where they want to use the straightaway, by all means. And I'm sure whatever area somebody's in, if they wanted to try out
if you want to come try out the straightaway and you want to come work for free, then more power to you.
Yeah. I don't think any company is ever going to say, like,
I'm not going to say
no, you can't put up
it's not like it's
a panel of pickets.
It's not like it's a protected secret.
Yeah.
I mean, this tool has been out for 4 or 5 years. Like,
yeah.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Sean's been using his for like 25 years.
The same one.
I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
Highly doubt that.
That thing's probably, the first one is probably long gone.
Probably lost.
Yeah.
It's probably lost at a job site.
Yeah. Somebody finds a random, like, J-hook sheet of steel that's about 6 foot long.
But, hey, we are coming up on the end of our show. And as always, I do want to, remind you guys to, hit that subscribe bell, hit that like button, give us a share. Even if you don't watch our show or don't listen to our show, it goes a long ways.
Just send it somewhere to a random friend. Be like, hey, look at these two guys. They like talk about fences and stuff. It would completely
help us out because at the end of the day, we do fund this out of our own pocket.
Yeah. And we would like to, one day get to a point where we can monetize this, where we can bring some big people on. And also,
not just that, but we can give you guys swag after that.
Yeah. Get a little bit better of a little workshop space to film it all.
Yeah.
Lots of cool things coming up. We got the good old Reliable, but she's about 4 years old, and I want some cool little buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can only do 2 microphones right now, so a third microphone would be really nice.
Well, hey, man, at least we have video and microphones.
We do. So. But with that being said, take your fences, build them strong, build them straight, build them sturdy. Y'all have a good night.